Welcome, DAOist, to the garden. The day that I'll probably get roasted live in front of a live audience. Um, Guys, I'm so happy to have everybody after our little 2-week break. There's already almost 30 people watching this on the server. Vanilla, do you want to tell everybody about our new POAPs before we get going? Well, no. That's the whole point. Adrienne, the UI design of DAO House and illustrator extraordinaire. So you have to understand that this season is not like last season. This season was when we started to care about the season. And no POAP is going to be the same. They're all going to be slightly different. So and that's probably the only reason why it existed. I'm joking, guys. It's not true. Of course, we care about the season, but we all came together, put our heads together, realized this is our favorite thing to do, and we're going to do it with more and more love from now on. That's all I'm saying. And so, what I wanted you to do is tell people how to claim it. Awesome. So, if you want to claim your POAP for watching House Party live, which is very special, you just go to House Party chat and do whatever Vanilla tells you. And once the bot fails, you complain with him. How about that?
Hey, the bot worked.
It worked for you?
Yeah.
It worked for me too.
Distracted.
Oh, you should delete it then. So it's too late. So if you want one of these cool pull-ups, you gotta be quick and trigger.
Come on, give the people what they want. Let them have POAPs. So okay, so this time we have 120. If we run out, let me know. So Guil and Inga, make sure you claim it. It's working for me. All you have to do is message the bot with the code and you will get the POAP. And it looks fucking fantastic. Thank you so much, Adrian. Okay, let's stop dwindling and thimbling and bluing with our thumbs. And let's get our DAO House announcements. Do you have anything for us today, Ben and Deacon, before we jump into what's going to happen with the DAOist from now on? And what the fuck is the DAOist? For those who have never heard about
it. Well, there is some swag. We're kind of all prepping for IMCON in a couple weeks for those who are going. Stoked to see you there. But yeah, there's, I guess, in line, there'll be like a house party shirt up for grabs and a few other like swag items.
If you dare not sending one to my house, I'm gonna be very sad.
We gotta save one. You didn't save me one of the DAOist ones.
Of course I did, Deacon.
All right, I'll save you one. Yeah, those lunch boxes.
He didn't save anything for you guys.
No.
No. I think I lost my lunchbox. I lost my entire swag pack. You gotta save one for me as well. Yeah, and I don't know where, and I think a friend of mine stole it.
What I saw the other day was like a weird taser thing.
I never got a lighter, by the way.
Yeah, the lighter.
Oh, the lighters are sick.
Hold a swag pack for me because I think Veronica stole mine. I have to talk to her about it.
The other thing that DAOist did, well, was showed up on my doorstep yesterday is 6 cases of Club Mate. So,
wow, guys, I love it so much.
So you can come talk to me and you can Club Mate at MCon if you're coming.
Denver, Colorado.
DAO House is now a Club Mate distributor. No, we just drop it for fun, for production purposes.
Not on the floor.
It does go into our origin story because we were
Right.
drinking Club Mate at ETH Berlin when we started DAOist.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Deacon was super fueled by Club Mate when he was like randomly said DAOist, Bauhaus, and then we were like, oh shit, let's build that.
Yeah, and then we had to do something with it.
Well,
Yes.
now he is because I just yes.
Yeah, a mix of Club Mate and Jaeger and Schnitzel.
Rage and thirst for revenge.
Or curry.
Also,
Yeah, just tons of currywurst.
other DAOist update, I guess. That's before we get started. I guess I don't know if everybody saw it, but yeah, there's now like Gnosis safes can control Molochs, and Molochs can control Gnosis safes now. Super collaborative and composable.
Yep, over the next few weeks, the treasuries and vaults inside of our DAOs will actually be backed by safes, so you won't actually like see it necessarily in the interface, but it opens up a lot of cool composability. Projects working together. All the modules that work in safes will work with DAOs. So there's a lot of kind of neat things there. There's going to be more flexibility around having like
So
delegates
this
on
sounds-
some treasury that can just do a certain thing, or so yeah, that'll probably be in the next week or two. We'll be rolling that out, and all the stuff that works now, like the NFTs and early execution and all that stuff will still be there. We're just kind of changing the infrastructure a little bit.
Multi-call. What about multi-call? Question from the chat.
Oh, multi-call, yep. And multi-call is going to be there for sure. It makes things a lot easier instead of having to do a proposal on the DAO for an approval and then for a swap and then for add liquidity or whatever. You can stack things together. And it's also going to be much more extendable, like by community members wanting to add modules that'll work on the safe. They'll also work in our vaults. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff that'll come out of it. That's the other thing I think that we'll be seeing soon is Arbitrum, and a couple other networks. We're trying to support any EVM network that is cool and that they actually go through a proposal process with Uberhaus. And so we got a lot of new networks coming on board. Cross-chain stuff, still working on it. We got a proof of concept, but it's needs to be ironed out. So hopefully, I think we'll also see some cool like flagship NFT DAOs and NFT kind of things happening pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that. And if you're into that, do it. Let me know, and I'll stop talking. Sorry, it's the Club Mate.
No, keep talking, Deacon. That's why we came. But it's a good segue to announce that actually TheDAOist, which is actually an event series, if you never heard of it, that started in Paris during ETHCC. It's now going forever global. It's going to happen in ETH Lisbon, and we have partnered with Gnosis and Elizabeth McCarty to make a gigantic, hopefully, workshop track that doesn't feel like an afterthought. Doesn't feel like you're just workshops. It actually is a part of the meat of the event. And if Ven is up to doing so, we would love to have a safe with DAO workshop happening over there.
Yeah, I'm down.
We're trying to build a proper workshop pavilion where there's going to be several workshops running at the same time, and people can really just get their hands dirty with DAOs instead of just listening to talks.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, maybe Isaac will be there. Isaac and Santiago are kind of hashing on this bit of functionality. So,
Awesome. Well, this is also a good segue to ask Guil and Inga, our guests today. Why are you in this podcast today, sweetie pie?
No,
Tell
Well,
tell the story.
what do you mean why we are here?
Well,
Why are you here?
That's a deep question.
yeah. I mean, I live here, man. Come here every week.
Is this your apartment you were bragging about?
This is my garden, Inga.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta
I
get with
cannot-
the program. All right,
I
guys.
cannot
Since
see any flowers.
open
I
your
actually
eye.
loved that when you invited us, me and Inga, to come here, because I've been hearing about House Party for a while. So this was a good opportunity to come to this space and talk a little bit.
Exactly, because it's way more legitimate for you guys to tell the world about the DAOist than me telling the world about the DAOist.
Why?
So, well, I'm biased.
You're
You wanna
biased.
jump on it? Just jump on it. Just go for it.
Yeah, what are you guys up to?
Well, I think it's easier to just. I mean, I came here with like more on a reactive mode than a proactive mode in terms of like I want to hear from like can people in the audience like ask questions about the Taoist? Can people, I don't know what the level of like knowledge about it.
These people know what is the DAOist is. The DAOist.
Raise your hand if you know what the DAO
All
is.
right, I'm gonna be actively checking for questions on the House Party chat, but I'm gonna do a proper introduction since Guil doesn't want to.
And anybody, well, on that point, anybody in the audience, if you do have a question, you can raise your hand and then we can add you to the.
Yeah, raise your hands.
But
I
yeah,
see lots of typing.
but give everybody a quick intro. What is the DAO? It's just like what's the quick TLDR?
And who are you guys? Even
Yeah.
more important.
Yeah, please.
We're just strangers from the street, and Felipe paid us. He gave me, he promised me to give me 100 Dogecoins, but then he didn't because he said, "Sorry, your wallet cannot accept it." I was like, "Okay."
True story. Unrelated true story. I did lie to Inga saying that I was going to give her 100 Doge if she did something, and it was a lie. Mostly because I don't own any Doge, but that information was transparent for her to see. The thing is, guys, what is the DAOist? The DAOist started as a knee-jerk reaction to the lack of tickets in FCC and our desire to make sure that there was a space where me and my friends and our friends and all us people could meet. And so we did that. We started trying to organize a very tiny side event, and we failed. We ended up organizing a gigantic side event.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it kind of grew very fast, very organically.
Yeah.
We started off as a group of like, I don't know, like 5 to 10 people on Telegram, just like the close people around us that were Taoists basically, and then and it just grew very fast, and certainly there were sponsors and after parties and yeah, like 20 people talking and workshops. Swag. Oh my god,
And-
so much swag.
And now this Telegram group has 385 people, which is terrifying.
Exactly.
And now the world simply expects us to keep organizing these events, which is the bane of my existence. But I have to comply.
No, it's been a lot of fun. I've been having loads of fun.
I'm glad
It blew up.
Wait,
Because I go to bed
Gigi.
crying every day.
I remember Guy's face during the DAOist, and when he was just sitting 8 hours with chewing, it's like, oh. And when we were packing all these swag bags all ourselves, like 100
Yes,
pieces.
it was a lot of work. But
it was
involved
also a lot
lot
of fun.
stress, a lot of like going after things. But in the end, it all came together, and it was beautiful. And like just from people talking about it, we I think we put together something really beautiful, and we want to continue that. That's what's driving us at the moment.
Yeah.
So if you needed a reason to get a ticket to Lisbon, now you have it.
Well, so Felipe, you have experience doing events before, because I remember from DAO Fest and things. What about you guys? Is this your first event? Was it like totally just thrown on you by Felipe, or Have you done
So the,
these?
the DAOist was my second ever crypto event. The first being ECC in Paris just before. So I'm very new to the crypto space. I've been working in crypto for the past 8-9 months, at the invitation of Felipe, and that was the best thing I could have done. Like I'm on the fast track for learning all of these things right now. Like at the moment, I'm in a hotel in Vienna because I just came back from the third conference that the Crypto Commons gathering, and that was a mind-blowing experience as well. So I'm deep into it.
Yeah, and I was going to some crypto events and to different hackathons, but only because my ex-boyfriend was going there. And these events, they usually have all this amazing free food. Yeah. I mean, oh no, or is it like the place where you can tell the truth or not? Or
Yes,
I should
for
say
sure.
something more elegant. Mm. But yeah, and it was
Yeah.
amazing.
You got
mean,
sucked into it then.
Offering Inga free things always helps get shit done, and then you just have not to do it. It's great.
Good to know.
I'm joking. It's not true. Inga is a very committed and serious professional, and actually, I never felt so supported because I'm one of those people who kind of is addicted to self-sacrifice. And when it comes to events, there's this spirit of service that comes over me, and I literally forget shit. Like the things I go through the day of the event, it's some other personality that comes on, and I forget. Like I met Alex Masmej at the DAOfest. He was my volunteer before he was cool, and I re-met him a year and a half later, and he was like, "Dude, don't you remember I was your fucking volunteer?" I was like, "I'm sorry, dude, I don't remember." And then so within that space, I always feel alone and fucked at these events. And at least in the DAOist Paris, Guil and Inga were 100% just as fucked as me, and this creates a sort of a bond between people that is very powerful. And from that bond, we started building something that's bigger than an event series. And that's kind of what we wanted to leak Alpha and Omega for you guys here today. And just kind of test the waters for these plans and these visions that are united by an event series, but it's much bigger. Is that a good introduction, Guil and Inga?
That is a great
Yeah.
introduction.
But also, send me a message on Telegram when we're gonna tell people about our NFTs and stuff. So I'll try to make this kind of a cool phrase, warm up the audience.
We can talk about the NFTs today too, and the embassy.
What is it? I've never heard about that.
Yeah, what's the embassy?
So imagine if the DAOist, as a space for DAOists to discuss and advance the decentralized lifestyle, never had to stop. If we had a place that had guest rooms, event space, ateliers, media room, hacker lab,
Club Mate.
Club Mate.
A lot of
And
a
we
whole
could-
fridge of them.
And we could literally reach out to people and invite them. So maybe we want some PFP genius to be cooperating with Adrienne as an illustrator and have some coder next to them. We can literally offer them accommodation and workspace support, and then have an event space where they can present the results. Very much like an academy or our art residency or
I like the residency. Have you guys seen the Cabin DAO residency stuff?
Nope.
You should check into their process. It's really they've been doing some residency stuff and there was someone just ran into someone randomly at the local meetup here last night, and they went through it randomly.
So
but
please,
it's great.
please
But
connect.
yeah, different focus, obviously. But certainly something shared learnings there on the process, and the people who've gone through it.
Why is the focus different?
Well, it's more of it'd be more DAOist focused, I guess. So I guess it'd be something around DAOs, whereas Cavern DAO is more I don't know what their focus is. What kind of things they like you to do there as a residency. You know, maybe more art or culture based or
So
something.
our thing has a more specific goal, but it's not even the Daoist. The objective for me is to create an embassy of the metaverse in the real world and produce the documentation, educational assets, and projects that will allow us to really interface with legacy and avoid us from being destroyed in the onslaught of regulation that's going to come. So it's a little bit more of a downer of a goal.
Downer.
But the I think it's an important thing that we have to do. We have to ensure that some jurisdictions remain friendly, and I think Portugal might be that place. So I'm starting a campaign to raise something around $180,000 for a 1-year proof of concept of establishing this space. And there is a document that's under construction, and that's the first time I'm talking about it in public. But all the people you expect to know about this already kind of heard about it, at least a little bit. And I am seeking support, not only financial, but help to make this plan a shared dream of the space. And if you think it's a horrible idea, let me know why, because I want to improve it.
It's a horribly beautiful idea, I think. Prove it.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Well, so that's like one arm, I guess, or one project. It sounds like, and then you have like events and things. So what are kind of like the tentacles or the arms of this DAOist group? What are some of the other like?
So then the other tentacles become the content streams, which there's two sides. One is education and the other one is culture. And the culture one is starting with this NFT collectible series called DAOist Perspectives, which are little videos taken. These little videos are the first one is up already on OpenSea. You can go to OpenSea collections of DAOist Perspectives. Just
and at least like it if you don't have enough money to buy it.
There's no price on it yet because it's not up
No,
for
the
sale.
auction. Yeah, the auction it will be announced. I haven't paid for it yet.
Oh, I see.
But there will be sort of 50 of these Polaroids, and when you purchase them, you receive the Polaroid on top of a piece of drawing of mine. It's a fraction of a larger drawing inside a golden envelope that you can frame it and you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. Actually, no other gimmick, no other mechanics. It's just us celebrating our culture and making sure we don't forget what this is all about, which is the people, which is actually why this project is called TheDAOist. There's a lot of people talking about DAOs. I want to talk about the people who take the leap to live the decentralized life. So that's why the project's called TheDAOist, except also the fact that it was Inga's idea and it was a brilliant idea.
Guys, okay. Do you want to have like super hot top information?
Go for
Ready
it.
for that? Okay, so I just started to work with the guys, and like I always had this FOMO like nonstop that like I'm doing like not good enough. So like when Felipe asked me to make a first like task, I kind of like I wrote like haikus for them, you know, like as their run book. But I still had, you know, this feeling that I'm not like, you know, doing like well enough. So once I was sitting in the bar, and you know, this moment where the states like everyone is awake and people start to like to text in the chat, and they start like to think about the name, and I'm super drunk and I'm just like looking and it's like, oh my god, like this name process is happening and I'm not there, and it's already second bottle of Georgian wine, and I'm just like, I need to think, I need to be creative, like, and just like, you know, throwing myself there. And somehow like came up with this, like through this, like sentences came up to this, oh, sorry. Yeah, came up to this name, and yeah, and apparently everyone liked it.
Yeah, it was funny because we had a poll. We started the Telegram group with a poll, like with the initial people in it. Like there were a few options for names that we would call this, and the DAOist wasn't in there. It was just it came with English suggestions, and I'm just like, okay, this is it. That's the name. It was kind of a yeah, last minute suggestion that really resonated. Thank you, Inga.
But everyone knows the
Couldn't be
story.
happier. We actually never told anybody the story. I didn't know that you had the inferiority complex, it's a feeling that I have very much every day that I wake up in this fucking space. And also the Georgian wine, which I now am envious, because today I don't have any wine because I'm trying to be a good boy.
Yeah.
The other Georgia, you
from
from
Georgia.
America. So within, yeah, that comes in a box. So the Inga, Gil, why don't you share a little bit with the audience, a little bit of your personal stories as well, because they know everything about me. And like in our team, we call Inga the Russian, or at least I call her the Russian. And why is that?
Other people call me Dear Inga, Felipe.
Like Dear Inga better.
Well, I call Inga the Russian because she's Russian.
It's only Felipe that calls Inga the Russian. Okay, this is.
Look, okay, I think it's awesome that I have a Russian agent. Leave me alone.
No, it is. It's cool. It's cool.
But you're not in Russia, are you, Inga? So what was your journey?
No.
Yes, Inga, tell us.
This is a very bad question. I mean, because this is where I'm usually getting lost. Yeah, but
Don't worry, I'll
yeah.
tell you to shut up if necessary. We have that relationship already.
Do you have 5 more hours?
Extended House Party edition. Inga the struggle.
Yeah. Yeah, but information I would like you to know about me is that I'm an artist, and also I worked in education a lot, and yeah, so basically all the spheres that I'm interested to, they're connected to future, and I realized that there is no better way to change the future than change the present. Yeah, so and that's why I've chosen this kind of like spheres. So first, education, it's like you're kind of changing the future through the kids and through all of this kind of stuff. Then art, because it's beautiful. And yeah, because also I didn't have enough money for the therapy. And also sustainability. I had a couple of my own projects. I had a brand of like natural cosmetics and stuff like that. Yeah, so I've done basically many things. And you know, being present in this kind of community is very interesting because I think it's also connected to future. And I would like actually at some point where I have more knowledge to mix everything and make something super powerful.
Maybe you can come for the residency and we can get you a dev that you can boss him around.
The residency
about
at
that.
the embassy, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So I don't know if you guys know about how the Goethe Institute works, but the idea is to have like the Web3's Goethe Institute, like a outreach organization that creates culture as a soft power mechanics. And so that's the pitch, really. Guy, what about you? You don't come from Russia, do you?
I do not come from. I come from Brazil, like Felipe. Me and Felipe, we go way back. We met in college, like what, 12 years ago or so.
Oh, you're so nice to yourself.
It's more,
17
right?
years ago, you're more.
Oh gosh, I'm old. Yeah. So we went through college together, and then after that, we decided to build our own design agency, and we ran that for 5 years. And the kinds of stuff. Sorry, 10?
Easily 10, 12 if you count.
I mean, we had
back of my
Iguana.
room,
True. Okay, we
yeah.
had 2 companies. Yeah, so we've been working together for, like
Yeah.
a long time, and um, we were always kind of involved with projects that dealt with like how like dealt with like social innovation in general and activism back in Rio. So we from really from the start we were really interested in shaking things up and like trying to weave our way into like how do we change the way we work, how do we change the way people interact with each other and relate to the world. So you know it reached a point in Rio that we managed to get a hold of this house, and this is kind of like what we're trying to do with the embassy now. Like we're reenacting a dream that we lived in Rio for a year and a half. We had this house that was basically this temporary autonomous zone, if anyone knows Hacking Bay. And it was a space where people could come and do whatever they wanted, basically. They were invited to be as co-owners of the space as anyone else. So it was a radical experiment that we lived. And that's kind of what elevated a little bit me into the space of like radical decentralization, right? This was the beginning of it, right, Felipe? The conversations we were having back then, and the people and the experiences in that house.
Yeah.
The house, the concept of the house was like there was no curatorship. You could come in, you can make a copy of the key, and you were invited to be, responsible, like the good and the bad about like running that space. All of the financial aspect of the house was very transparent. It was a big board in the entrance, and people could just
Yeah,
come in.
our multisig was a wine bucket. This
Yeah,
like
exactly. It was a bucket,
frappe.
um, and so that kind of it changed. For me, it was completely transformative. And then that experiment ended as things end, and we moved to Berlin with this kind of like almost naive idea that we would try and do something like that in Berlin, or like start small, but like go into that direction. But we really we hit a hard wall when we got there, and it was a kind of a harsh year for us when we got there, and like was trying to rebuild our little um, base of clients and everything, like trying to understand ourselves. And when Felipe talks about the embassy, this is all coming back together, because like when we had this house in Rio, like we didn't have DAOs, we didn't even know, like we had DAOs, but it was very conceptual, it wasn't really backed by technology, and now things seem more doable, more practical, more tangible. So it gets me really excited.
That's really cool. I like how, yeah, I've totally felt the same thing, like a similar experience over time. Like a lot of, even things I think about that I was trying to do as a kid, even that were. I mean, it sounds like you guys had some pretty good success actually with that experiment. But many of those types of we've all kind of had like those ideas about like, oh, like you were saying, like, oh, how do we connect better? And we've all kind of like noticed that there were problems in interactions and coordination and whatever. And and yeah, I certainly have like run other experiments and things, and but yeah, it's cool to like those ideas don't have to die. It just may not have been the right time, because like you said, yeah, now we have like this tech that can kind of gives us this like foundation that not only can allow us to do those experiments that we were trying to do earlier and actually make them work a little bit better, but now there's also like we're seeing like these weird emergent properties of like what happens when you actually do that, right? Which are all like super interesting things too. But yeah, I love that. Like
you probably share the feeling of how weird it is to like. I remember when we were doing this, we were the wild young ones, because we were like 24 at the time, and now we're like the elders. It's super weird.
Yeah. That too.
No comments.
Yeah,
Everyone's just like the elders, okay.
Silence.
Not even in a good sense. I'm just like struggling to keep up.
So,
Yeah, true.
I mean, what's interesting about the kind of the DAO movement and how you're talking about culture, I mean, is it actually a cultural movement? Are we like witnessing something happening right now? Some of the things like I've been interested about, and especially when you're talking about these like cultural DAOs, is when does it start? When does DAOist start up in Georgia, actually, in the States? But no one started it, and you're just going off of like maybe some groundwork that you've laid out, some documentation, and then all of a sudden we start getting these like local pockets of these like global, like hyper local, but not one thing, right? They're like multiple cultural pockets feeding off of the same kind of starting ground. Like we kind of saw with like Meta Cartel, and then Meta Cartel China started, and but it would be really cool if it was just like everything, everywhere, just like spinning up, and maybe that's just what a DAO is in general. I don't know.
Yeah, I think what we have to do to catalyze this, I don't want to say accelerate because it's not about speed, but just like consistency of experience and adoption and success is, I mean, speaking for me and Gil, we had to be incredibly brave to be here today. Like we had to forego every security system that was afforded by a relative privileged situation in Brazil and just go through like fucking devil's claws to and just really, or at least it wasn't easy. I would like for future DAOists to not have to go through this. I would like for this thing to make relative sense. But at the same time, I adore the idea that the price is higher, right? So fine tuning the needle's eye to understand, to have semiotic control of who joins us, but at the same time make sure that we're not losing good souls because it's scary or bad or hard or UX is challenging, etc. It's what I spend most of my day thinking about.
Yeah, exactly. This is exactly what we're all about at the moment. We want to make it easier. We want to make it user friendly for people who share the same thoughts as we do, to be able to execute and not have to go through the same hardships that me, Felipe, and so many others have been.
At the same time, it's nice sometimes to go through this kind of things. Inga from Russia.
It builds character.
Right. Yeah, necessary sometimes.
When I was child, my grandmother used to kick me in the shin.
Well, and that was my birthday gift.
Wow.
Only one kick today, dear Inga. Only one kick. Grandma's tired. All right, sorry. This is probably racist somewhere. I don't know. Well, so yeah, there is we often talk about the I would say optimizing the amount of pleasure and pain in a system, right? That's what I always talk about, being a conflict DJ in the role of a facilitator, etc., etc. There is a place for strife.
Maximizing, would you say that again? Maximizing joy?
Optimizing pleasure and pain amounts.
Ah, yes.
I mean, I don't want to talk about my love life here, but let's move on. Oh, brilliant.
Hey, I have a question for y'all, if it feels appropriate.
It feels so appropriate. Go. I was about
Yes,
to hang
of course. Shoot us.
All right. Excellent. Very excited about this embassy idea, an embassy between IRL and metaverse, and particularly fascinated with your reference of the Goethe Institute and with Hakim Bey's temporary autonomous zones. I think of the Goethe Institute as a kind of multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary research institute that's really focused on pragmatic needs or utility in the sense of social awareness and the application towards public goods. Whereas Hakim Bey, I mean, is kind of this like, yeah, whereas Hakim Bey is like the kind of quintessential anarchist, right? The total creative and philosophical anarchist. And I'm wondering if you might say a little bit more about how you see those visions aligning in the embassy idea.
Okay, I would definitely say that for me, everything I'm going to say now is about me personally. My background is as a deep student of Goethe, the man himself. And if I had to choose between a model of a person to follow, it's definitely Goethe and not Hakim Bey as a man. Although I deeply enjoy the writings of Hakim Bey and his style and flair, I think his life is not something to be emulated, and people who have looked into it know why. So that gotten out of the way, I love that you actually understand the work that Goethe Institute does, and why it's important that it is actually stemming from Goethe's way of doing. He was a statesman, he was an artist, he was a writer, he was a philosopher, he was an economist, he was a futurist. He even was able to predict 200 years before that it would be the Americans that would build the Panama Canal and not the French, just by analyzing the incentive chains and
Because he knew how to observe.
Yes, he was. So there's a something called the Goethean phenomenology, which is a observation technology, and observation as an active thing. And that's why I draw still to this day, even though drawing is not a part of my life anymore, because it's a connection mechanism and it's a way to commune the mind with the world. So many of the ideas that I've espoused in this podcast over season 2 that are becoming more explicit to me as I'm allowed to talk about them again, because I'm out of the 3 years of clawing and suffering, and now I am safe and financially okay, etc. And I'm just reconnecting with my lifer. And this podcast helps a fuck ton. Sorry to be serious. I know I only say shit most of the time, but this is a thing that's happening, and even moving to Portugal and the shit that I went through that made us take the break the last 2 weeks, it's all connected. Like, I'm starting to see the karma behind the whole shit, which is spaces of pregnant emptiness, which is a concept I created that needs a little bit more explanation, and creating these sensing machines of the world, like open systems that spiral, that amplify something, that make them obvious. So if you know the work of, just to throw more artsy intellectual crap out there, if you know the work of a man called Andy Goldsworthy, he's a land artist. And basically he arrives on a landscape and he just interacts with landscape. The only tool that he's allowed to use is a knife and his hands. And he uses things that are available in the landscape to visualize turbulent or flowing systems within the landscape. Basically, simplest idea, grabbing a handful of red pigment and just throwing it up in the air, and that pigment just flows according to the way the wind is flowing, and suddenly you see something that was always there but invisible. I try to think like that with social, and that's the answer that kind of forms to your question, Travis. I don't know if it was direct enough, but I hope it's followable.
I love that analogy, man. Yeah. It's true.
For people who are interested in Andy Goldsworthy, there's a documentary called Rivers and Tides that it's definitely a good watch. I'm gonna link it over here.
Oh yeah, do it.
And I think the thing that we can take all from Goethe, and I think the Daoists need to take from Goethe, and it's the energy that I want to bring to every Daoist possible, is just to be incredibly fascinated with how fucking amazing the world is in its fucked up complexity. There is so much to be enjoyed, even in the darkest things, even in Afghanistan and in our coordination. Coordination failure has a perverse beauty that you need to enjoy engaging with to be able to fix it.
Perverse beauty. Yeah, killing it. Love that.
Dude, it's been a hella 2 weeks here. Fuck.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's true. There's beauty in the chaos.
No, please derail. Please,
What?
I'm breaking my only
Wow.
Oh.
So one thing I've always wondered, And because we have a bit of an international crew here, like, so in the States we have Tornado Alley where there's like tornadoes all the time. Is that
Wow.
happening in Europe too, and in Russia and South America too? Are there areas where there's just tornadoes all the time?
I've never seen one. I really want to.
It's a promotion.
Yeah. Brazil has zero like natural disasters. And there's a joke that we tell as we grow up there all the time. It's like God is like building the world, and he's like, yeah, these people are gonna have tsunamis, these people are gonna have this and that and then that and then Saint Peter go like, yeah, but God, like Brazil here, it has no problems at all. And then God goes like, yeah, but you're gonna see the type of people that I put there.
No.
That's the joke. That's what we got. Yeah, I'm
Man.
getting pictures from my friends in New York City with everything. I guess global warming was real. No,
Tornado.
it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It's just it was bad. It was bad. It was bad before, right? And then exactly like the dawn came, and then it's imagine you're in a fucked up room with the lights off, and you can't really understand the. It's fine. Let's all laugh at me. It's the whole point of my life. But the thing is, a dead cat. Oh, the dead cat.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, man. Got your back, bro.
Depends on how long it was alive for. If the kappa was alive for 50, I think you should declutch and detach yourself from the idea of permanence and just accept the passing of this beautiful animal. But if he was like 2 months old and he was as
So
long
now,
as you
how
don't
did
look
you
at the
move to
cat,
this
it
cat?
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's fine.
If you keep the box closed long enough, the cat will die for sure. That's something I learned in my life the hard way.
The cats lived in bags. Let's let the cat out of the
We
bag.
lost 5 people watching the podcast now just because we're talking about dead cats.
Well, hey, yeah, well, we do have 2 minutes, so it's a good time if anybody else does have any questions, or yeah, if you guys have anything else that you want to get in. So, I mean, certainly, like, what are some calls to action? Like, definitely, like, get to Lisbon, LisCon, if you can.
Yeah, get your ass to Lisbon. Come be with me and Ven. We're really gonna try to have a house party live this time.
What's the? Oh yeah, the workshop thing. I guess we kind of like glossed over. So yeah, you want to do some workshops out there, like more interactive stuff. Sounded like for this one.
Yeah, the idea is that there's going to be simultaneous workshops and you're going to be able to shop around for your DAO needs. So if you're worried about a talent acquisition or HR, there's going to be like a track for that. And if you're worried about like how to launch a DAO, there's going to be for that. And if you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I like the track idea. That's cool.
Can't promise, but we're working with Beth and Gnosis on this and doing our best. But there is also going to be a beautiful way to watch the talks, which is going to be revolutionary, which means no more being seated in a annoying auditorium. It's going to feel more
Don't
like
tell anyone.
being at a festival. Oh, sorry. Okay, I can't tell the Russian and the Russian. Fuck. And well, what
That's
I can
okay,
say
you can
is
tell.
if you wanna get involved, let's say that you are representing a grant giving institution. Let's talk seriously about the embassy. Super cheap to make big ecosystemic change. If you're not a grant giving institution, you want to help this idea. It's simple. Just bid on the NFTs really soon. 100% of the proceeds of the NFTs will turn into the DAOist initiatives. Boom, hands down, done. And if you want to help the event in Lisbon be the coolest, sponsor the event, we gladly put your logo on shit if you're aligned with the cause. If you're not, we might reject your sponsorship. We're so sorry. We're not about money. What am I
So you
forgetting?
can be a volunteer.
Yeah, you can be a volunteer.
Yes.
Like,
We need
we have a-
volunteers.
You get special swag if you're volunteering.
Yeah, the volunteer get the best
Exactly.
swag. That's it.
Special POAPs as well.
Yes. Yes. That's the only reason why I volunteered last time was just to get the free POAP.
The POAP.
Zima pulses.
I've never even seen your form, Vanilla. I want to ask you so bad. Come to Lisbon. That was easy.
It was easy. I like that. Yeah, listening's gonna be great.
What about you, Inga and Guy? Was this podcast what you were
Yes.
expecting? Did you enjoy it?
This was a lot of fun. Yes, I'll be sure to drop by more often now. It's pretty laid back. I really loved it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
like
Like I'm usually a bit shy. I'm usually a bit shy to be like around like with an audience and like people listening to you. Like I don't do this a lot, but I felt really comfortable here. So thank you for inviting.
I feel
you
like
guys
it's
for coming.
like yoki talkie thing. So you're just like talking stuff to random people.
Yeah.
This is how I kind of curate the information I,
But
spray
it's
into
not
this
random
podcast.
people, though. It's really good people.
No, good random people. Perfect.
good strangers, like you say.
They're all bots.
So did I tell people to buy the NFTs already? Buy the NFTs.
What? You said there was no price.
No,
Yes.
not yet, because I haven't made them. The whole embassy idea exploded. So after you can see all of them for like about 5 days, and you can pick the ones you want to bid at, they're gonna start going up for auction. You have to stay tuned
Soon.
for knowing
Yes.
after I figure out what the auction strategy is. Because trying to call Damien Hirst, but he's not picking up. But when he does,
You might be busy.
Yeah,
he's-
but
he's
everyone
making
come
more dots.
to DAOist because we're gonna have a lot of cool things there, and also we're gonna have a Web3 blackout poetry bus where you can create Web3 poems.
And an awesome after party. Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Last time
closing
was
the
in a
deal on the
boat.
after party hopefully today.
Inga, did you see my poem that I posted?
A what?
Oh,
I just posted a poem, yeah. But it was
where?
I announced this this talk. It's in the WarCamp chat, but probably way up there now. But anyways, so what's the webpage? The DAOist.
DAOist.co.
The
DAOist.
DAOist. Don't be a Russian. Don't forget the article. TheDAOist.co.
The DAOist.
Thank you.
Thank you
Oh.
guys for coming. It was awesome. And so every Thursday we're gonna start up season 3. This was our first episode. We're gonna hit the ground running, and so everyone come back and subscribe, say what's up, ask questions.
So confirmed for
Yeah,
next
thank you.
episode, by the way, it's John Paller from Monopolis and Sport DAO fame. Also an incredible event organizer, inspiration to us all, owner of one of the most powerful reality distortion fields in the Web3. So you should definitely come.
Eat them. Buffacorns.
Buffacorns on acid. Yay! All right, guys. I hope this was a fun episode. We're all too concise today, so that's why we didn't run out of time. And I hope to see you again next week. And thank you for tuning in again at our first episode.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
Yeah, thank you for inviting.
Yeah, thank you, dear Inga.
Bye.
Bye.
Party on. See ya.